Howdy, I'm Matt, and in this episode we are going to be making ourselves a Poor Mans Nano Drak. Now, this is the official, this is a prototype of the Nano Drak, which flies absolutely brilliantly. I'm sure it's going to be one of the best models of 2019, and I'm sure everybody here also knows the Mini Drak. However, I've had this idea in the back of my head for absolutely ages, and it's about time I execute it. So what are we talking about? In short, we're going to be taking a Teksumo wing, and I've had a couple of spare blocks of EPO foam here, which I'm sure those of you which don't have a spare block of EPO foam, you can make some up out of some foam board, for example. So the challenge is to take a Teksumo wing, basically fold the wings forward so we get that forward swept look, and then stick a block of this foam down the middle and then see if it flies. That's the plan. Whatever happens after from here, no idea. So with that said, to the bench, let's go. So the plan is very simple. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the Teksumo wing to one side for a moment. Oh, actually no, let's just get the idea. The idea is to bend the wings forwards and then stick a block of EPO foam in the middle to make our fuselage. And I've got a spare block as well, which I can just hot glue together to make the fuselage of the model itself. That's the plan. What happens from here, no idea at all, because we got spars and stuff in there which we need to sort out. So I'll tell you what, let's put those apart for to one side for a moment. And what I've been and done is that I've just done a very, very crude cutout of the Teksumo wings from a Hobby King box. And the plan is actually very simple. I'm going to pivot on this back point and then move this around enough until we get the forward swept wings. And if I can do this and get the measurements right, then we're going to end up with this forward swept look to the model. Now the curiosity is that if I just hold that there for a moment, so you imagine there's the middle of the model, is that look, you kind of get the idea very, very quickly of what this is going to look like at the end. Now one curiosity is, am I going to have to chop off the ends, or do I just leave them on? At the moment they've got winglets on there which are going to really mess with things, so yeah, I probably do need to chop off the ends, but that's the plan. Work out what I need to do here, where I need to cut this, and then transfer this cut, the bit which I'm going to cut on the cardboard, to the actual wing itself, and then cut it across. I've got a couple of spars to cut through, but it shouldn't be that hard. And then whether I glue the wings on the end or I do it as part of the fuselage, not entirely sure yet, but that's what the plan of attack is. We'll see what happens. Right, that sounds really bloody hopeful, doesn't it? Right, I need a pen. Pen! Come here, pen! There we go. Better get a ruler as well. So does that look alright? I tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat. Yes, Matt, I like cheating. Don't you all like cheating? It's not cheating, it's looking at something else for inspiration. If we use the Nano Drak, and Chris, don't kill me for this, I'm just eyeballing this, that looks about right. So that's the angle which we're having. The angle of the dangle has been set, and we'll mark that up in the middle. In fact, screw it, why don't we go for a slightly more forward swept to it? Probably has some adverse effects, but screw it, who cares? Right, that needs to go up in the middle of there somehow. So how do I work out the straight line in here? I don't really know, if I'm honest. If we put that in front of me, does that look kind of straight? Oh, nobody knows. Well, I tell you what, if I cut off the same piece from both wings, will they not end up being straight, or do I want to aim for where it joins? Let's aim. I genuinely don't know. Like I said, I'm just making this up as I go along, and I need to go and find myself a knife. So I tell you what, let's cut to a montage, and we'll see what happens from here. So I thought I'd give a little bit of narration to this build, and I'm genuinely impressed it came out so well. So after working out the angle for the wings themselves, I cut that out on the cardboard, just mirror flipped it across to the cardboard, to the other wing, and then just kind of eyed things up. Now I did do my best as far as the fuselage went. I kind of eyeballed to what kind of made sense. And anyway, we'll see that we're just taking the little winglets off here. Now I did keep the winglets because I knew that I would end up using them later on in the build, and you'll have to excuse my little sense of humour here. I had some tunes on in the office. And that came out quite well. Should have perhaps left them there for a little bit longer. Anyway, I'll know for next time. So you'll see me here removing the motor. It was a random NTN motor. I don't even remember where I got this wing from. I wouldn't have put fibre tape down the front of it, so I'm sure it might have been Craig's or Dave's at some point in time. Now, I did run into issues with the cutting of the wing, hence you can see me turning up with a saw, and that may seem a little bit extreme, but to cut through the sheer amount of carbon fibre rod which was in that model, somebody was definitely after my own heart. And yeah, I did require to use a saw to do it, which was a bit harsh, but it did work out really well. I just made one mistake on, I think it was this side. It was a little bit rounded, and I had to go back and tweak it a little bit, which I'm sure you'll see me in a moment. You'll see me there on the phone because I'm taking photos of it and posting it on Instagram. And there I am, just cleaning it up. And I did have an issue with that edge, and I had to go back, and you'll just see me cutting away at it, and I had to get in there and saw it again. There was a few bits of carbon rod in the way, but it soon moved out of the way. And plus, with my desk being relatively soft, oh, you can see me working out the wings or the ears. I kind of borrowed Ewan's idea with the Vortigon and what was it, the Firefly, to have ears on the plane. They do look kind of cute, and it did work out alright. Now, yeah, I think that's probably where I went wrong. I used a hedge cutting knife rather than a saw, so that's probably why I had a bit of an angle issue where the motor mount goes. When it came to gluing up these sections, I did plumb for Yoo-Hoo Poor, and I frankly just got impatient with it in the end, and I left it for a good 5 minutes or so, as you'll see on there. But you'll see me go back and trying it again. Come on, stick. Completely impatient to do it. But no, Yoo-Hoo Poor does work out really, really well because it's a contact adhesive, and I must remember to treat it as a contact adhesive, and as such I needed to let it dry for a short while before going any further. Now, I did go off on a slight bender and I was trying to put the servos in, but then I kind of thought to myself, actually I'll do the servos and the electronicals last, and let's go and focus upon the battery bay and where the camera's going and how everything else kind of works out. Now, a little tip for you, I just stuffed the craft knife in there as deep as I wanted, and then put a big slit down the middle, broke it up into sections, and then rammed the pliers down there to pull out huge chunks. Now, with that said, I am going to pause and cut to a little bit of narration which I added during the build about a very special tool which I've got here, which works really, really well. Just a quick note here, I've had to nip outside of the office to do a specific task. Now, this is a Sealy SD200. Basically, it's just a big soldering iron. And I've been and manufactured a little cutting thing on there, and I've done it outside because when you start heating up this foam, it absolutely stinks. All I've done is just press the trigger and just go in and just fashion off a little flat, well, semi-flat floor in there, so we stand a chance of getting some Velcro to stick in the bottom of the model itself. I don't use it that often, but in the scenarios like this, is absolutely brilliant. You can hog out huge, great big chunks, and that angle and that size there is no accident because I've used it for servos before in the past. Again, personally, I prefer cutting out servos with a knife first and then just using this as a finishing tool, but you can remove an awful lot of foam very, very quickly with a gun like this. No idea how much it cost. I think I paid 40 quid for mine. It's just one of those tools which works out really well. Anyway, on with the build. Yeah, that gun is really good. I'm just here in the post-editing stage, or in the editing stage, should I say. And that gun is really, really useful. It wasn't cheap at the time, but boy, did it work out well. So you'll see me here using this fantastic looking glue gun, which is, well, to be honest, I'm sure it was cheap, and it's very cheerful being pink, but its ability to poke out glue is not very good at all, and you will see me in there really fighting with it and eating the hot cross bun to get the wings on and get them glued on. And then when I was doing this, I kind of always knew that what I would end up doing is putting a spar up, and you see me just grabbing the glue stick on the back. It was awful. And now, anyway, you'll see me here working out where the spar should go. I kind of got fed up with it and didn't know where the middle was, so there was me roughly working it out. It didn't need to be particularly precise, it just had to be roughly in the middle. And my tool or weapon of choice when it came to cutting out the trench, and then you'll see that I just paused it and came straight back, is my tool of choice was that soldering gun, because it just worked out so well. And yeah, that hot glue was bloody awful. The hot glue gun was just absolutely awful, so I had to come back a few times and then fill it up. And then kind of at this stage, I was really getting impressed with myself. I was quite impressed how it was starting to look, but when I put the fins on in a minute, that did work out really well. Now, you notice there's quite a long pause there in the scheme of things. Couldn't find that run cam anywhere. No idea where my orange one's gone. And I really need to change the lenses on those cameras. In fact, I'll take a note now, because both my run cam 2s, the lenses have... yeah, they've had a lot of abuse. As such, they're really quite scratched, and the video quality is not very good anymore on it, and it's down to the lenses and the amount of abuse which I've done given it. And I'm just tapering up the nose. I thought it would look kind of cool if I did that, and there's me really starting to admire it, and just going back for an extra bit of hot glue down in that main spar, because it's going to have to do quite a lot. And then me eyeing up the motor, and then kind of thinking to myself, actually, let's get some more hot glue in this. And then what we'll do is come back to the desk and have a quick chat with you. So there's me gluing on the fins. Obviously high precision work going on there. I can even see it moving looking back at the recording. And the other one, yeah, the glue gun was just a complete nightmare. So I finally got that glued on quite well, and I will go back and stick some more hot glue on there, because we all know the better the gob, the better the job, the bigger the gob. So hey ho, we will catch back up with me at the desk, and a very impressed me at the desk, because it did work out really, really well. Do you know what? I'm actually genuinely impressed with myself for this build. Let's just take a look at this. I did not think for one moment it was going to come out and look this good. Really, really straightforward to do. So one thing you may have not picked up for the montage is that I did put a 5 or 10mm carbon tube underneath the wings just to give it a little bit of rigidity. I'm not entirely sure how well these wings or these fins will do long term, but I didn't, to be honest, because it looks so good, and you've got to admit it looks pretty damn good, I didn't want to chop off the wings, so I'm just going to fly it again. Yeah, I could have done it. I just don't think it needs it, to be honest. Obviously, if it flies like a bag of poo, then we might consider chopping the wingtips off and straightening them up. But I think that's going to do all right. A little note, which is that I have gone for a double webcam. I know somebody's going to say, "Oh, Matt, why did you put a Runcam 2 on the end and an FPV camera?" Is that I never ever use the Runcams as FPV cameras. It's just not something which I've ever got on with. So I do have a separate Runcam Mini Swift in the nose. Now I do need to wire up the electronicals. Not entirely sure which motor I'm going to put on the back. I'll probably go for something a little bit zippy, to say the least. Obviously, if you're going to make your own Poor Mans Drak, then what you put in it is completely up to you. That said, I do have a slight thrust angle issue. It's not, well, actually it probably works. It looks worse on the camera over there. I'm looking at it now. Whoops-a-daisy. So yeah, we do have a bit of a thrust angle issue. I'll sort that out somehow. I'll stick some washers down the back of the motor, mate. I'm not cutting that off. But yeah, so all I need to do is chuck in 2 servos, mount an ESC at the back. Now you will notice I've gone for quite a long nose. One of my little bits of feedback with the Nano Drak, the prototype, is that it was very difficult to hit CG. So I have gone for an elongated nose, and I have purposefully mounted the Runcam 2 camera and the FPV camera up on the nose, because I think it needs the extra weight. So nice big battery bay to move the battery in and around. I haven't cut too deep in there because we want to keep a little bit of rigidity in there. But that said, genuinely impressed with myself with this one. I've had this idea to make a Poor Mans Drak for absolutely ages. And I can't believe I've not done it. Fingers crossed, it flies. So with that said, if you'd like to see the Poor Mans Drak fly, in one of the very next episodes, we'll take this one out and we'll see if it flies or not. Who knows? Who knew that you could transform your old Teksumo into a model? We're flying. Hey, hey. So with that said, for myself, Matt, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this episode. See you again shortly, hopefully with this one in the sky. Cheerios! Ace, I surprised myself. Howdy, I'm Matt. I want to say a big thank you to you for taking the time to watch this episode. Every single model and piece of kit which you've seen in this video has been bought by myself for my own abuses, so that you know if a product is good, it's good, and if it's bad, well, we kind of blow it up. Shout for help now. If you're in the live version as well, hold on to your seats and kiss your ass goodbye. Get out! Jesus!
Safety first.
Safety first. I do have my safety glasses.
Whoa! What the f have you done? Whoa!
Alan
Check out the steak on the Barbie.
Alan says,
Oh,
like,
it's burning on the outside of it now. Look at it.
That is the wheel of doom!
Alan said, oh, Matthew, I think you should put that out now.
So with that said, a big thank you to you for taking the time to watch this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. If you're new here, don't forget to press the like button and also to hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification so that YouTube lets you know when the next episode is out. So with that said, for myself, Matt, cheerios!